Reproduction in higher plants. You have learnt in the earlier classes that there are two basic types of reproduction: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. The lower organisms such as moneras, protistans, algae and fungi generally reproduce by asexual method. Look at some examples like potato and sugarcane. The stem can give rise to new plants. Green plants exhibit vegetative and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves the formation and fusion of specialized reproductive cells called gametes. In this chapter, we will study the process of sexual reproduction in the most advanced group of plants, such as the commonly called flowering plants known as angiosperms. You can see flower is the reproductive structure of the plant. Generally, the flower arises from the axil of the leaf. The flower is generally borne on a stalk called pedicel. You can see that the tip of the pedicel is enlarged to form a disc-shaped thalamus. In the thalamus, the different parts of the flower are arranged in the four concentric, oral or circles. If you look from outside to inside, the flower orals or circles are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx is the outermost oral composite of green color units called sepals. They are protected the inner part of the flower in the bud condition. Corolla is the oral from the outside. It is composition of usually bright colored units called petals. The androecium is the third oral from the outside. It is composite of a male reproductive structure called stamens. The stamens produce pollen grains which contain male gametes. The innermost oral is called gynoecium. It is composite of a female reproductive structure called carpels. Each carpel has basal, swollen ovary and middle elongated style and terminal sensitive region called stigma. Ovary encloses the ovules which contain female gametes, ova. In angiosperms, the process of sexual reproduction has three major events, namely gametes formation and gamete transfer, fertilization and development. Gamete formation. It is the first process to occur during the sexual reproduction. As you already know, male gamete developed in the stamen through the formation of pollen grains. Similarly, female gametes, for example, egg cells developed inside the ovary of the carpels. Pollination. Once the gametes are formed, pollination occurs. The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is called pollination. Pollination occurs with help of agents like wind, water and animals. Pollination occurs in two ways, such as self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination is a process in which pollen grains from the anther of the flower are transferred to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. It is called self-pollination. I will repeat once again. Self-pollination. It is a process in which pollen grains from anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. It is called self-pollination. Cross-pollination. It's a process in which if the pollen grains from one plant get transferred to the stigma of the another flower in the another plant of the same species, it is called cross-pollination. I will repeat once again. It is a process in which if the pollen grains from one plant get transferred to the stigma of the another flower in the another plant of the same species, it is called cross-pollination. Flowers that are pollinated by wind are generally small and dull colored. They produce large number of dry and light pollen grains. For example, sugarcane, maize and grass are common examples of wind pollinated plants. In aquatic plants, generally we see the formation of separate male and female flower. The male flower detaches from the plant, floating on the surface. The female flower remain attached to the plant. The male flower are carried towards the female flower by water current, where they release pollen grains. For example, Pollineria, hydrilla are the common example. Plants pollinated by insects show certain modifications in the flower to attract the insects. Those modifications are change in the color of the petals, or some produce nectar to attract the insects. That brings about cross-pollination. Apart from insects, another group of animals that visit the flower are the birds. Several kinds of the smaller birds visit the flower for the nectar, and in the process bring about cross-pollination.